I wish I was standing out in the middle of a field in front of about 10,000 people, and all 9,999 was looking back at me, and we was all raising a cold bush, and we was just cheering to the fact that we survived. We're still here, and we are gonna rock on. Life is a series of adjustments. Stuff happens in life. It just freaking does. And when it does, you have to adjust. Well, we've all just went through a big adjustment and still going through that adjustment. But I look forward to the day when I can stand back in front of the people. Hey, I would be thrilled to death for everybody to be toasting a cold bush right now. And just, hey, let's do that, kick into Old Town Road, and maybe follow it up with Achy Breaky Heart and have a big time. I want to see people dance and sing and laugh and love, you know what I mean? And party on.
Quarantine has allowed a lot of us to be more creative in our everyday lives. And I know you're working with Bush to inspire people to create a new version of their jingle. Tell me about that.
Well, it has been a extremely creative past 3 months. I mean, it's on one hand, you're trying to, normal ain't normal anymore. You know what I mean? You're trying to adjust, well, what is the new normal? And then you realize, well, there is no normal for anything or anyone on this planet. Normal isn't normal. That being said, you know, I think two of the greatest plays in history were written during pandemics. And there is something about, well, what I've decided is, I think Sir Isaac Newton put it this way, that repetition is the mother of skill. But what I have decided is that's not exactly correct. I think that necessity is the mother of skill. And through necessity, then you will repeat and find out, okay, you'll do something over and over till you get it right with repetition, if you need it. And quite frankly, digging deep into, the only thing I had was creativity. That was the only thing that I could even lean into for me to express any emotions. All the tours got shut down, and I was so excited about this year. I don't want to sound like I don't want to be a whiner, but oh man, we were playing the biggest festivals, the best festivals. The crowds were incredible from last year, and I was just, my gosh, I've made my living as a singer, songwriter, entertainer for 40 years. I know, gosh, that sounds crazy, doesn't it? But for 40 years, I've made my living entertaining people, pretty much like 5 or 6 nights a week. All of a sudden, that wasn't allowed anymore. It didn't happen. The show was shut down. And man, it was hard. I'm still trying to adjust. I'm still trying to adjust as we speak, and still leaning into it. The only way I can find to take some type of positive force toward it, instead of just being on defense all the time, is I just try to be as creative as possible and write as, I bet you I've written 100 songs in the last 3 months, and I'm sure I haven't written this many songs in the last 10 years. So there has been something extremely, when you lock down and it's necessary to find something else to think about, or some way to channel your emotions and your heart and your mind. I mean, that's one thing, this whole thing has been tough on everybody in their minds. It's hard, not only physically, but mentally. It's been tough. That being said, I'll get off of that only to say, when Bush approached me about this commercial and this project, almost like I said about your parents' plates on the wall there, it took me back to a place in my mind that I remembered from the past that was so much simpler, so much, it was beautiful. Like thinking back on it, I go, okay, this song, The Bush, Head for the Mountains, I can see me and my dad in the late 70s watching a Super Bowl together. And they go to the big commercial and it's the Bush theme song. And then I think in the early 80s, Hoyt Axton did it, and it became anthemic and took on a life of almost like a hit record to a kid like me. And at that time, I'd started a band, and I was like, that song played everywhere. It was part of the fabric of who I am, where I'm from. It was like a backdrop, almost like a hit song from that time era. And the fact that it was inspiring other artists to have a chance to lend their creativity to something new, and B, actually have like a prize that you can win, and yeah, there's a cash incentive, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, that's exciting to a young or old struggling artist out there that goes, hey man, this is cool. This is a chance to, I like to think everyone has some type of dream. And I, to a fault, am a dreamer. I dream. If I didn't, I'm sure I would still, be back in the hills of Appalachia somewhere, or perhaps not even alive. But I believe that, that your mind is everything, that everything begins with a thought. And it's everything that's going to grow in your life. As you sow, so shall you reap. And it's the thoughts that you sow in your mind and your heart that will be the seeds to the fruit that will manifest in your life. And I just thought this was a positive thing. I love the fact that it inspires, people to go outside their boundaries. I told Lil Nas, I think I mentioned this maybe to you when we talked a year ago, that early on I told Lil Nas, I said, man, don't try to think inside the box. Don't try to think outside the box. Think like there is no box. Because that's the world we live in today. Even judged by the fact that I'm sitting here talking to you through this little, hey, this was called impossible 20 years ago, 10 years ago. This just didn't happen. So all of this is something that's spawned from the human being's mind. So anything is possible.